Snow White, with the red hair, dives into the past of Zen this week. So we get some really good characterization of the thought process of Zen and what he has kind of went through in his past. So about 70% of this episode is kind of focused on Zen, when I actually thought it was going to be focused on Shirayuki because of the setup with the beginning of the episode. So quite shocked about that, because I didn't expect this to be like a Zen-orientated episode with his flashback and diving into his character. So this episode was trying to showcase Zen's position. For instance, what type of position he's in as royalty, and why he cannot really get with a commoner and marry this commoner because of his social status. And that's kind of what I expected to eventually pop up in this series, because that's been one of the main things popping up in the side, behind the scenes of the series. Because, I mean, if you think about it, in terms of being a king or a prince, you can't just go off and marry a commoner. That's how it was in the past. You can't just go marry a commoner and think that that's okay, because all the royalty and nobles and all that are going to have some huge issues with that, because they want you to marry one of their children before they can get, stronger in political power. And that's kind of, how royalty was back in the day. And if you think about the way this episode is doing, it was just going to show you that Zen, at the one point or time, he didn't want to be a prince, because being a prince caused it to where he couldn't be friends with some people, or he couldn't talk with some people because it was looked at as if it was wrong. It's like, trying to talk with him, and then all of a sudden everybody's looking at you like, ooh, that's disgusting. Why are you talking about someone that's beneath you? That's kind of how nobles and royalty were looking at when it was coming to Zen wanting to talk to, like, let's say, like a guard. And if you think about it like that, you can kind of understand Zen's position. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say you couldn't talk with anybody. Like, if you were by yourself and you couldn't talk on people online, couldn't talk to people at school, because supposedly what everybody said around you is you are higher than them. Like, you are a greater person than them. That would probably make you feel bad or lonely eventually. Let's face it, you probably would feel lonely very soon or quickly if you were in that situation. So yeah, I mean, seeing Zen in that spotlight in this week's episode, I think it makes us all realize what type of hardship he has had to go through. He had to went through betrayal, people trying to use him to get to certain points of power, and then also how he got introduced to Mitsuhide, to where he has grown connected with him. And as we know, Mitsuhide and Zen have this complicated relationship between each other that we don't know much about, but we get to see the start of it with this week's episode. So let's talk about the betrayal. Zen meets a boy that is kind of considered like a guard archer, like an archer or whatever. He meets this boy, and this boy befriends Zen. Zen befriends him, and they have this conversation probably going over for the course of months. And if you talk to this person for months, let's say anybody, and you got to know about them, their personality, got to spend time with them, different things like that, most likely you'd grow some form of attachment to this person. And that's exactly what Zen did to this person. But you come to find out that this boy was actually using Zen to be able to get closer to him, and then try to kidnap him for ransom, and then get closer to his older brother for they could get some form of money or something out of capturing Zen. And so the boy wasn't really Zen's friend at all for the entire episode. He was just there to kind of use him. And I mean, it was hinted at since the beginning of the introduction of this boy, so I don't feel like it was really not obvious at all. Like, I think we all saw that he was going to do something bad, judging by his eyes, the way he was acting, the way with the weapons. I mean, it was very obvious that he was going to do something. It just, the question is would he have a change of heart, and would he actually care about Zen? Shockingly enough, he actually tried to kill Zen. He was going to kill Zen. He didn't really hesitate. So it shows you that he didn't really care at all about Zen. And so Zen had to learn the hard way that people try to get close to him to use him. And that's kind of why he likes Shirayuki so much at the moment, is because she's not really trying to use him to get higher up in status. Because look, she went out of her own way to become a herbalist, or she can become a court herbalist and doesn't need anyone's help to get there. She used her own power to be able to get into that spot. So it goes to show you she doesn't want to use Zen like Zen was used in the past. So yeah, it was a very good episode to dive into that, just go to showcase how different Shirayuki is compared to other people I've used in the past. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.